Hello and welcome to the Miskatonic Playhouse. I'm T.A. Newman, your host. My team and I will be bringing to life cosmic tales using the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, which contains mature themes, horror, character death, and loss of sanity. Our mystery can be found in the Miskatonic repository, where people like you and me can write scenarios for other players. We're proud to have this episode of the Miskatonic Playhouse sponsored by the Storytelling Collective, who provide an excellent course on scenario writing, which many of the team have taken to help improve their writing skills. Tonight we present our latest production, The Yellow Death, created by Batu Bozoglu. Welcome to the Miskatonic Playhouse. Here we, Miskatonic repository community creators, play, review, discuss, and interview you and your games. Tonight's performance is directed by Charles, acting as keeper to this following group of investigators.
Hello, I'm Fedra and I'm playing Arthur Burton.
I'm Hedge and I'm playing Chris Boulder.
I'm Graeme and I'm playing Kyle Cormack.
And I'm Pete and I'm playing Sophia Radovich.
And I am T.A. Newman and I am playing Connor McDullin.
Well then, I guess we'll start. We are in Kentucky. We are in 1927. We are the 9th of June. And you are all in the car. Kyle is driving as usual. And you're all heading to Jeremy Strand's mansion, somewhere out of the city. It looks like it is a big private estate, and that Jeremy Strand is someone quite rich. You are all down on your luck, financially speaking, apart from Sophia maybe, and you're all happy to have a job. Yes, money is something fantastic that we all need, and you're all eager to discover what Jeremy Strand wants. You will arrive in a few minutes at the mansion. Right now, you are in the car.
Okay. I'll start it off by just driving quite slowly, probably not breaking much over 20 miles an hour. Quite a, steady driver, and it'll probably annoy a lot of people behind. So you probably hear quite a lot of traffic trying to get past me on the road. But safe is slow and slow is best. So that's where we're sort of going.
Can you not go any faster, Kyle?
Chris, do you want there or do you want to die?
I mean, I just want to live a little, to be honest with you.
And now let's just make sure that we are being absolutely professional here. This is the first job in a while, and we want to make sure that this goes smoothly. Kyle, Chris, we are on best behavior.
Yes, Christopher. Come on. Best foot forward, huh?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, of course, Connor, you're right. Of course, I'll be professional. I can be professional. I'm very good at my professional. I'll do it. Don't you worry. Don't you worry at all.
What is it you do again?
Whatever you want, Kyle. I just get stuff done.
Okay.
In a capacity for the business, he gets stuff done.
Yeah, what my uncle said.
Well, if that's what Sophia wants,
Well, boys, you don't have to be on best behavior on my account. Boys will be boys and all.
But in moderation, of course.
Absolutely, Arthur.
I, for one, completely approve of Kyle's attention to safety and diligence. Chris, maybe it's important to listen to your elders at this point. We learn better by listening than by speaking.
Thank you, Arthur. That's very kind of you. See, Christopher.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll just wait another hour for us to arrive, I guess. Watch out for that pothole.
Fuck!
And as Kyle is swerving abruptly, and that everyone is shaking inside the car, we can maybe start to describe how everybody is looking. Kyle, behind the wheel, how old are you? What do you look like?
I am 28, and I'm a scrawny boy of like probably 5'8", sort of wispy whites with a sort of like mottling of blue about them, a sort of good Celtic healthy look. And he's got a sort of a cap on, and wears like a sort of a second-hand sort of almost getting bare thread sort of tweed jacket.
Quite lovely. What about Chris, who was arguing with Kyle? How old are you? What do you look like?
So Chris is a scrawny looking 21-year-old. He's not that big. He's doesn't take up a lot of room, and he's kind of got this bored, annoyed expression on his face, like he's never really had to wait around for anything before. He's wearing loose-fitting clothes that looks like they belong to someone else at one point in time, and his eyes are darting around quite a lot. He's intimidated by the people around him.
Great. What about Sophia? How old is she? How does she look like?
Sophia's 28 years old. She's short and slender. She's got dark hair, which she hides under a dark, wide-brimmed hat, and she's wearing a grey cotton dress. You can tell she's from good breeding stock. She's, very, very glamorous in her own way, with an inquisitive look on her face.
Fantastic. What about Connor Magdalene?
Connor's the old dog of the group. He's 48. He's kind of got brown hair, grey kind of streaks in it. In his lap, he's got his kind of grey fedora that suits his suit and his jacket and whatnot. But he kind of spends his time just eyes flicking amongst the group, but flicking to Sophia in between everybody else. And also Chris, his nephew, making sure he's behaving. But he's probably, old. He is older. He is a bit wrinkled, bit of a pot belly. And you can see his hands are kind of gripping his knees tightly.
Great. What about Arthur? How old is Arthur? How does he look like?
Arthur is a 41-year-old accountant. You can tell he's an accountant because he's wearing a very boring brown suit and a tie. However, the tie is the one thing he allows himself not to be boring. It's yellow with blue circles. It's the fun thing about Arthur. You see his tie. He's also wearing round spectacles. And even though he's 41, he has a bit of a baby face, which he tries to hide with glasses and combing his hair backwards, quite thinning hair. He is quite stern, and he doesn't look interested in what's happening most of the time, unless he feels like some tension starts escalating, like perhaps before with a speed. And then he's almost analyzing the situation as if maths is running through his head, trying to figure out the correct response to what's happening. And he's also keeping an eye on the youngsters, especially Sophia.
Great. So that's how everyone is looking right now. It turns out that you actually arrive at Jeremy Strand's mansion. It is quite a lovely place, quite rich, of course, a beautiful park that you actually go through with your car. A servant is welcoming you, taking your coats, and telling you that Mr. Strand is waiting for you inside. You are guided through a few rooms, then a stairs, on to yes, quite a magnificent living room. The furniture, the paintings, it all smells money. Jeremy Strand is here. He's smoking the cigar. He's looking through the window. And when he hears you coming in, he turns. That must be you, the inside team, is it?
Oh, indeed. Oh, thank you very much for inviting us here, Mr. Strand. It's an absolute pleasure.
That's me. That's me. I'm thankful for you guys. And I'm sure that we're going to do business just well and that everything is going to be perfect. That's you're the type of people I need. People who actually get things done. Please, have a seat. Have a seat. He takes another puff. He's waiting for all of you to get seated. You can take a chair. There's a big sofa as well, or you can, stay up as you wish.
Can I just see how Sophia reacted with kind of me jumping in and introducing myself, or at least saying hi to Mr. Strand first before her?
Sophia was absolutely fine. She's taking a bit of a back seat. She's quite laid back, and she's letting you run the show. She'll defer to Connor on most things with insight. She's there to sort of soak up the ambience and research her new book.
So you must be Mr. Magdalene, is that it?
Yeah, indeed. But do please call me Connor. Call me Connor. And all of us here at Inside Investigations, we are delighted to be doing business with you here, Mr. Strand.
Well, delighted that everything's going to be easy with you, Connor. Is that your folks? You all trust them?
Oh, indeed. You might say that some of these folks are like family to me. And I'll just look over at Chris.
Well, family. Yeah, you're saying
Chris
something, young man?
Yeah, Chris has already begun lounging obnoxiously on one of the sofas.
Just shake my head at him.
Sophia, if she's near him, sort of bats him to sit up straight.
Chris sits up straight, but he looks a little bit annoyed about it.
But as requested, Mr. Strand, we are absolutely here at your beck and call. We have even brought with us our firm accountant here with us. Arthur is here to make sure that we all stay in check. Obviously, we will, sir, but we intend to do the most utmost professional job that you can expect from any investigative firm.
Good to meet you, Mr. Strand. And of course, Connor is right. And he's an excellent person to put your trust on.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, you have a good reputation. Let me say that, you have a good reputation. Inside, sounds like someone I can trust. And, Mr. Connor, I'm glad that you say that you all feel like family, because family to me, that's the most precious thing. And if I invite you all to be here today, that's because of my family. You see, I have a brother. I mean, I had a brother, Arthur. He recently passed away, and I want you all to look into it. There's, how could I say that? Arthur was original, I guess, in some ways, but he was a lovely man.
He does sound like a good man. Arthur is a good name for good man.
He truly was. And that's why I'm a bit upset, it has been quite rough. I mean, I have so many things to deal with, my business, my trips, family, it needs to come first, but you don't always have the opportunity to do so. And I want to fix things. I want to understand how and why my brother died. You see, a few months ago, he got sick. He was coughing a lot, the white fever, of course. And as per the doctors requested, I did find for him a sanatorium. He was sent there and he was supposed to get better. That's why you pay money to those doctors, for things to get better. And a few weeks later, I received a letter. My brother died. He sent me a few letters while he was there, and it looks like he was going through some things, some weird things. He wasn't feeling well. I should have done something, and I didn't. He looks quite puzzled and sad, and he's losing his train of thought. He seems to be lost within his memories of his brother.
Mr. Strand, this is an incredibly personal situation, and we, as you have hired us to be, will have the utmost discretion, and we thank you for your honesty here. This will help in the investigation. How about a drink here? I feel perhaps steady the nerves. We could all...
Yes, of course, a drink. I'm so sorry. I should have.
Oh,
I
no.
wish certain that perhaps this might not be the time for a drink since we're working officially.
Well, I think in the capacity of making Mr. Strand here feel comfortable, perhaps we join him for a quick drink to celebrate his brother with him.
Yes, of course. Mike, please, a bottle of brandy. And so you have
very well, just one, just one.
just one.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm not a drinker.
Oh no, of course not. No, it's not what I was implying. Of course, very sorry.
Yes, great. And so you have Mike coming up with a bottle of brandies and a few glasses. If you want to, you can drink a glass of brandy with him. He's waiting for everybody to be served. He's raising his glass to Arthur. To Arthur.
It's Arthur.
I'm sorry, I can't do this. It's not the Christian way, and the prohibition was put there for a reason, I believe. So
I will also not have mine, he says after he's taken the first sip. Yes, I agree.
Connor's already had his, and if Christopher's, Connor will make his way around and at some point probably pick up Kyle's and then sip it.
Arthur will look disapprovingly, but not say anything this time.
It's a familiar look, I imagine.
Sophia knows how the wealthy live, and she's just happily drinking her brandy. And she's like, well, Mr. Strand, thank you for being such a gracious host. And I know how terrible it is that when family members get sick. You see, my father, unfortunately, he's ill at the moment as well. I know what you've been going through. But what is it about his death?
Thank you, miss. Thank you.
What is it that you think about his death is so suspicious? Why are we here?
Well, I'm just gonna show you the certificate. That's what was sent to me when he passed. I find it quite weird in many ways. But he also sent me this letter. With this letter, he sent me this weird song or poem. I wouldn't know. I mean, I'm sure that I'm gonna leave you to read those things. But it feels to me that my brother was not in a normal state. That my brother was going crazy. That he has been taken advantage of. I think that this institution of Waverly Hills, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium, I think that they are weird people. What I'm gonna ask of you, if you accept, of course, is to go there, pretend that you're sick, get inside, and see by yourself. I'm not some weird rich guy asking for nonsense. I just want to check. I just want to be certain that I didn't do my brother, wrong here. I ask for you to get there and spend 3 days in the institution itself and try to uncover anything that might be suspicious. I'm not a fool as well, and I want evidence. I want you to come back with something tangible in your hands, with testimonies, with ledgers, anything. I just want to be sure that those people are doing their job or have ill intent. Is that clear to you, Connor?
It is absolutely clear, but I must ask, you're talking about evidence here, ledgers, perhaps even interviews. Do you suspect that there is a certain something going on, or are you just generally suspicious as a whole and you'd like us to dig? I mean, I can see you have a purpose and a drive here, Mr. Strand. Can I roll as well? I'm really interested in, like, is he telling us everything? Because I just kind of feel like he's got
if you're curious, you can roll psychology. That's perfectly fine to me.
Okay, yeah, psychology, and this is one of Connor's thing. So I'm leaning towards his character.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so a 19 for a 75.
Great,
So
fantastic.
that is well, it's a hard success. Oh, just off an extreme success.
I'll tell you that he's not playing an act. He's truthful here. He's really worried about his brother. He's mournful, and he really wants to get to the truth. He has trouble sleeping at night. You can see that on his face. He's he's convinced that he's at fault here, and that he should have guessed that something was wrong. He might be wrong here, but he clearly suspects that something is going on. But he doesn't look like he's hiding anything from you so far.
And he doesn't kind of okay, because that's it. And in regards of what he's told us, that he doesn't suspect any individual, he just suspects something there with his brother's kind of treatment and
he never actually went there. He doesn't really know the people. He wants you to investigate. Is that like the head of the facility who is in charge and he's doing some weird shit? Is that one of the doctors? Is that one of the orderlies? Is that the other patients who are weird? So, it's up to you guys to actually go there and discover for yourself and make your own opinion.
Mrs. Strand, you did mention that your brother was an eccentric before his visitation to the sanatorium, and
yes,
looking at the letter and of course they cite psychosis as one of the reasons for his demise in his medical certificate form. It makes me wonder, did he not showcase the symptoms before his admission? You said he was unwell beforehand. Are you sure that this is something that developed in the sanatorium and was not an already pre-existing condition?
I mean, of course, Arthur was not like, he wasn't serious as I was. I was the serious one in the family. He was always writing and composing music. He was an artist in many ways, but he wasn't like that. I mean, you read the letter, you read the poem. He wasn't like that before. No. Something was getting to him, getting to his brain. I can tell you that. No, I'm once again, maybe it's just the pain talking here, but I suspect foul play, and I count on you to actually tell me if I'm wrong or right.
It's just that, well, as private investigation missions go, and please back me up with this, Connor, it seems like quite an unorthodox one, a dangerous perhaps. From what I know about sanatoriums, they would not allow us to keep our weapons. They would not allow us to keep anything on us. They might potentially give us things to ingest or keep us locked inside. I feel like perhaps it might be quite a dangerous thing for us to do undercover, even as a team. Is this something that is really under our remit as a company?
Well,
probably breaking.
Well, indeed, but I think to perhaps get the best understanding of the situation here, Mr. Strand here has paid up front for our services, and the idea of an investigative team being their first hand, first sight, first experience is an opportunity here, and you can see, Arthur, how much Mr. Strand is suffering at the loss of his Arthur, and yeah, while there might be risks, there are risks with any investigation. It is something that we at Insight take sincerely, very much to our heart. Isn't that right, Sophia?
Yes, that's right. Looking at this poem, you say he was wont to flatter fancy. Is this unusual at all? I mean, it's a rather beautiful poem. Should I read it? Should I read it for the group?
Oh, please do so. I wouldn't want to read it myself. It pains me too much, but
maybe close your ears for this one, Mr. Strand. It's titled Illumination. A lifetime with nothing to show. Eternal bliss and songs of love I awaited. Yet shy was the seed, the sun it evaded. Nestled deep within, it hides, ever floating in eternal dreams unabated. His eyes watchful and all-consuming. the heart with its desire and lust nestled in meat. There it is, proud and forthcoming, like thunderous hail erupting from within, life renewed. Oh, the stars above and below reflected, witness the light as it bathes the defeated. Now the sun crowned once more emerges. And
Well, this is hardly appropriate for a young lady.
I concur, Arthur, and I would like to know what weapons an accountant would have. I mean, you said you had weapons, Arthur? I mean, I'm a bit concerned.
No, not me personally.
Okay.
I meant as a company.
I carry a revolver, which Arthur knows about because.
I mean, with this line of work, at least one person needs to.
Arthur organizes the license for the gun, and
getting very out of hand already. I thought that's all.
So, should I assume that you accept the job?
Indeed, 100%, absolutely, Mr. Strand.
Thank you so much. I'm extremely grateful, and I'm just really happy to know that some capable people will be able to look into it and put me at rest here. You can see a clear sign of relief on his face. The shoulders are coming down. He's slightly, not defeated, but it was a battle. He was fighting with himself, and he's just glad that someone is taking this burden on their shoulders now.
Is Mr. Strand in a position to, potentially going undercover in this sanatorium? Is Mr. Strand in a position to kind of give us details, provide us with, whatever we would need to be able to put ourselves forward as genuine patients to be taken in, so we can get this first-hand experience at the sanatorium?
Mr. Strand will take care of all the bureaucratic part of things. He will register you as patients within the sanatorium. You just have to show yourself and introduce yourself. You can actually prepare a fake identity if you want to, or you can go as yourself. Anyway, with a fake identity or your real identity, you will be treated as patients within the institution. However, because Mr. Strand is taking care of everything, you will be considered as wealthy patients. So you will be in some sort of deluxe ward. You're not going to be with the common people. You're going to be in a nice and quiet environment with less sick people. You will be nicely treated. Everything should be quite comfortable.
Does Mr. Strand have the ability to release us in case of an emergency?
Mr. Strand can call the police or journalists if after 3 days he's not hearing anything from you guys. He will assume that something is wrong, and he will call the police. He will do something. He's not gonna let you rot in there.
Well, I think we can last a mere 3 days in a sanatorium. I'm sure they've got our best interests at heart, but we will get to the bottom of what happened to your dear brother.
Indeed.
Surely, Sophia, it's not so. The rest of us can go. We don't need so many people. You're a young lady. All kinds of terrible things could happen, even in 3 days. But perhaps you can be our safety on the outside, and we can communicate with you in case we need anything. It's just like I can't really. Surely, I mean,
she sort of calms Arthur down and says, "My dear Arthur, honestly, I'm fine. I can look after myself, and this is perfect research. This is what I want to be involved with. This is what I want to know."
Arthur, you appear more nervous than usual, and nervous is good for our accountant, advisor, and bookman. But in this instance, Sophia, she can handle herself, and we are all together, and we are there for a mere 3 days. And if we need anything, we have Mr. Strand here, not only financially but actively wanting us and our safety engaged, because he needs to hear from us about his brother. So there are a number of safety measures here.
And if there was anything, if you would need to get out before those 3 days, pick up a phone, call me. I'll do anything I can to get you out. I don't want you to stay the 3 days if you have the evidence before the 3 days. If there is something wrong before that, just call me.
Will we have a phone access as patients in the sanatorium?
I mean, as wealthy patients, I'm sure that they will let you use the phone whenever you want.
Mr. Strand, we hugely appreciate everything that you're offering us here and the opportunity for this job, which, as we have said, contractually, we fully obliged to and accept. Would you mind, as a business here, we'd very much like to just summarize some of the evidence thus far and talk, and I hope there's no offense intended here, talk freely for a moment, sir.
No, there is no worries at all. I know that you have, your own professional secrets, and I'm not here to listen to them. I'll let you leave.
If
Everything
Michael
should
could
be ready
come in with some more drinks.
Yes, of course, I'll ask Mai to bring you a bottle. Everything should be set up in 2 days. In 2 days, you should be able to just like go to the sanatorium and introduce yourself, if that's working for you. Miss, gentlemen, thank you so much for your patience and for your work. Good luck. And he leaves. You are left with a bottle of brandy and Mike standing on the side waiting for you if you need anything.
I'll walk over and take the tray from Michael and say, "Oh, thank you, dear boy, muchly obliged, but confidentiality within the business, you must understand. You get along now. Go see to Mr. Strand, make sure he's okay."
Excuse me, sir, but Mr. Strand is expecting me to actually stay here. Consider me part of the furnitures of the walls, the decoration. I'm not actually listening.
I still take the tray from him and walk over to a table near Chris and pour Chris and myself a drink.
Oh, well, thanks, Uncle.
And I pour one for Sophia as well.
Yeah, she's slid a glass along. She's like,
"Well, Michael is not listening, so now is the time. Inside investigations, air your concerns, air your worries, air your questions. And if anybody has any idea what the hell that poem means, please enlighten me."
It says on the death certificate that he died from tuberculosis, from community transmission. Uncle, I don't want to get tuberculosis. Do we have to go in?
I wouldn't worry about that there, Chris. It's you see in the wealthy rooms, it's a slightly different environment, and we're going to be in we're not, as Mr. Strand would put it, not me, understand, as Mr. Strand would put it, we are not with the common riffraff. We're in our private rooms, and when we want to talk to doctors, the medical staff, look at their records and things, we are not going to be going near a tuberculosis ward. And I can tell you now, Christopher, I will not have you go near a tuberculosis ward. Your mother will kill me.
Was Arthur not in the ridge side of the sanatorium as well?
He was. He clearly was in the rich ward.
Well, I assume this is one of the things we need to check out. If Mr. Strand died unlawfully because of unlawful exposure to tuberculosis from a ward he shouldn't have been on, then that's what we need to find out.
So this here potential suspicion number one.
And by the way, he told you that that's because he had tuberculosis. He had the white fever, and that's why he was sent there.
I'm sorry, I've had too much brandy. I'm not used to drinking this early in the day.
Yes, I'm going to take the bottle. I'm going to pour it out the window.
Oh, good, Carl.
No, sorry.
God's sake, man! What the?
We need clear
I'm so
heads.
Sorry. Was there anything wrong with the brandy?
Yes, the alcohol.
I can bring
perhaps some water.
Yeah.
Some water
Yes, of
would be
course.
good for everyone.
Water.
Connor, it's probably for the best to get used to some sobriety, as of course we will not have access to any alcohol for the entirety of our duration, the duration of our stay.
Right away. Right away.
It's good for the soul, Connor. Good for the soul.
I believe I hear everything you're saying. I just pull out a little hip flask. I understand we are going to be limited for a few days, but don't worry, I can take care of myself.
Would I be able to make a literature roll on the letter in the poem to see if anything stands out?
Yes, of course. That's something that you could totally do.
Okay. So out of 60, I got a 98, which is a terrible fail. I think that the brandy is obviously just clouding everything. I'm
Yes,
not
of
used to
course.
it. I was
The
drinking it
brandy
just
is at
to,
fault.
yeah, I was drinking it just
Um,
to join in with the lads, but yeah.
It doesn't remind you of anyone else. It doesn't really remind you of another writer. It doesn't remind you of another specific style. It is its own thing, as far as you can tell right now.
Okay.
These surroundings in this room we're in, this is Strand's house. But did his brother Arthur live here? Was it a family house, or is this Strand's own property and mansion, or is it like the Strand extended family mansion?
It looks like it is the Strand mansion, but you wouldn't know if Arthur was living here before.
There's no signs of obscure creativity around this room.
No,
You
not
talked about
especially. No, it does look rather classic. So no.
Should we take a moment to also read the letter handout out loud so we can know?
Arthur, would you mind?
Let me see here. Jeremy, my dear brother, bliss, complete bliss. This is the one, I know it, a masterpiece, potentially perhaps referring to the poem, I imagine. Please, I implore you, give this to that friend of yours. We, of course, must inquire about who that friend is. Jeremy, it is wonderful in here. Everyone is on the same page, the musicians, the writers. I'm so glad. We wait all together. The nights are harder though, but it is fine. This disease, this curse, it takes so much, but gives much more. That is life, Jeremy, in a nutshell. It's all just a silly tale with the picnics and the food, the grass, all that business with the money. None of it matters. You see, we were never meant to have them, right? This is my gift to all humanity, Jeremy. That's quite distasteful. Imagine the breath of a drowning man as he emerges to the surface, hand in hand with death. That is the quintessential breath, one that separates the dead from the living, just like the first one that breathes life to the newborn babe. That is the breath that birthed this voice, Jeremy. Every breath here is that of nature, a breath that all fear would be their last, afraid to see it go, yet yes, destined to reach for more. And therein lies its truth, its importance. It is, in fact, vital that in every sense of the word. And with that breath, I kiss you, Jeremy, my dear brother, with open mouth, breathing upon you this eternal life force. And with this poem, I give you the same they give the same essence to all humanity. Eternally yours, Arthur, January the 5th, 1927. Well, perhaps some of the medication the man was on gave it this larger than life sense, or perhaps his disease is quite delusional. I think we'll all agree.
It was the letter was written in January. It's June now. I thought this was quite a recent thing, but it seems like that's quite a bit of time.
Good spot there, Christopher. January to June. So if that was written in January, and I'd be interested to hear people's interpretations. Is that a threat? Is that a promise? Is that a brotherly love that we don't understand? There was something you said there, Arthur. I breathe upon you with open mouth. Now, that could be the significance of Kyle, you might want to feed in here some religious breath of life. But if here's tuberculosis, or here's white disease, white plague, white whatever it is, white fever, should I say, it might be a threat.
Well, he saw it as a blessing as well as a curse. This is quite biblical, quite grand in its thinking. He was clearly disturbed. This is not the Lord's work.
Who's the friend? It says, give it to the friend of yours.
That is a lead we need to make sure we have pursued before.
And it also says all that business with the money. I can't help but wonder.
Perhaps on our way out the door, we turn to Mr. Strand and give him a just one more thing, Mr. Strand, and we ask him about this friend and this money. It would seem imperative questions, would they not?
And perhaps why he waited so long to call someone about what's been happening, clearly.
Yeah, Jeremy can tell you that the friend, as the letter is referring to, is a publisher. He thinks that, his brother wanted this poem to be published. The money, he's just assuming that, he's talking about the family money and the fact that they're coming from a rich background, he and his brother. So that's pretty much it.
Do we all agree here that Mr. Strand is actively engaging with insight investigations because of the distress he is feeling at the loss of his brother, the injustice he is feeling at his brother being mistreated, mishandled here at the Waverley Sanatorium? I believe that is where I stand. Is this something that we all concur with? Because having our eyes all in the same direction on this investigation is going to be critical, I would say.
Would add guilt to the list of his offences.
Guilt in what respect there, Carl?
He sent him to this place, sir. He is the master of his own fate until he was thrust into this hellhole where he took upon this road of creative madness.
An interesting take there, Carl. Steeped, no doubt, in religious exposition. Thank you. Thank you. Very, very welcome.
That's okay, Connor. I'm just the driver, though. Just, adding.
You are nothing but just a driver, Carl. You are a part of this team in this investigation.
Well, that's very kind of you, sir.
Sophia, any last things you'd like to address before we make our way from Strand Mansion?
This could be a man in pain, racked with guilt, or maybe there was some wrongdoing. I think that at the very least we can consult with this Dr. White to find out if this cause of death is accurate.
Now,
which sounds like a great way to get you back to the car as you're all talking. You have 2 days before you. How do you want to use them? Which identities do you want to share with the Waverly Hills Sanatorium? Do you want to share your real identities? Do you want to create fake ones? What do you want to bring with you? What is the play here?
I think with the potential damage to her reputation, I think Sophia is going to go with a fake ID, and I think try and get the rest of them to do so, and we'll put some money behind getting some very good fake identities together.
Can I propose as like a standard thing we do as insight investigations is that we do have a number of potential fake identities, but because we work together, we often keep our first names and we change our surname so that when we are out in the field, if needs be, we can still communicate effectively, but it's our surname that changes.
I was very much looking forward to be called Arthur, but I'll stick with Sophia.
I mean, we can. That is just purely a suggestion. That is just purely a suggestion. You understand. Yeah. So, and we can kind of, is everybody happy to, unless anybody would like to change their full name. What's my name? Connor McDullin. I might go with Connor Duckmullin.
Yeah, Chris takes like an entire 24 hours over it, thinks about it really, really hard, and then comes back with Boulder spelled with an A instead of an E.
I love it.
Arthur is going to envision himself as a creative and shorten his name to Art, which he thinks is appropriate because that's the kind of thing that they would do. And maybe Burton, he could change to Button, Art Button. That would surely land him in a sanatorium.
Nice.
Cal's going to refuse. Lying is against God's will.
Great,
You're lying anyway. You can't avoid it.
Well, he might be not actively lying, he's just omitting the truth.
Maybe he can be very honest about his religious beliefs and end up in the sanatorium anyway.
Probably.
He can be really open with the fact, yeah, I'm investigating here. No, all those people, yeah, they're all investigators.
Where are you taking me?
I'm just the driver.
I was a driver,
Yeah.
yes.
One bit of prep that Chris is going to do that's
Mhm.
quite important is that he wants to sew his lockpicks into his trousers
Great.
so that if he does get into a position where they take all his items off of him, the lockpicks will be safely stored somewhere and they can't be taken away from him.
Fantastic. Consider it done.
Sorry,
Yeah.
please, Phaedra,
You
you
go
go first.
ahead.
I've got two things. One is a preparation thing, stealing Christopher's initiative there, and the other is an investigative thing. Is that okay to have in the few days that are going on?
You have 2 days if you want to do some investigation. Of course, you're welcome to do so.
One is in my trusty luggage bag, which obviously I use a lot, is with the false bottom, making sure that my revolver goes in there, along with, how is it, 3 days we've said, probably about two hip flasks and about 3 bottles are just nicely tucked in there, wrapped in socks and things, socks and pants in the bottom of this kind of false drawer there with the revolver. And that's preparation, just with normal kind of clothes, zero identification apart from the false identification.
Of course.
And the investigative thing would just be just scrolling the any kind of known history about Waverley Sanatorium. And was it Dr. White?
So you can either research the institution itself or you can research Dr. White as you please, but only one of them.
I think if I was being honest, I may have asked Christopher to at least go and drive, or maybe Kyle to drive and do a roundabout of the actual sanatorium, but that would be up to Kyle as to whether he would do that.
I'll do whatever you tell me to, Connor.
I think I probably would have looked at Dr. White unless somebody else would have been putting themselves forward to say, I can do that.
So yeah, Dr. White, how do you want to proceed? Are you looking for newspaper articles? Are you looking within records? Or are you trying to maybe find some of his friends or family and talk about himself? What is your strategy here?
I think I probably would have, with another false identity, gone to have spoken to some of his ex-colleagues, perhaps. Maybe nobody too close to him, no one current immediate family, but some ex-colleagues, and I would have left perhaps a newspaper or records kind of search to somebody more suited to the task.
Great. Then I'll have you roll either persuade or fast talk or charm, whatever you feel is appropriate for you, and we'll get back to you. Chris, you told me that you wanted to hide your locks. Is there anything else you want to do, or are you just happy with that?
He also wants to go and recce the sanatorium. So if Kyle drives him over, he will sit awkwardly in the back while Kyle drives over, and he'll hop out a block from the sanatorium if at all possible and go for a walk.
Great. Kyle, are you happy to go there and do some recon?
Of course, I'll negotiate with Christopher that he has to keep his feet off my seats, and I'll definitely take him to where he wants to go. But I'm just going to do lazy 20 mile an hour like loops of this place. I'm not even going to be subtle about it. It's going to go round in circles.
Well, fantastic. I don't have any rolls for you to make because it's quite easy and I don't know why you wouldn't. So you can see that it is quite remote from anything else. It's something like 30 minutes by car away from everything. It's inside a small forest. It's away from everything. You can see that it's on top of a small hill. It is quite an impressive building by itself. A really large brick building, quite impressive. There's an inside court of some sort, and from the outside, there's just like this main gate on forest pretty much everywhere around it.
Is there any gatehouses or outside buildings of the main facility? Like
no, you only
lodges?
have the main building itself.
Okay, that's fine.
Chris.
Yeah, so he sees this. Is it like a fenced-in courtyard? You said there was a concrete building and then an open outdoor area Are we thinking like a prison yard, or are we thinking like
We are thinking an inside court, some sort of just like a prison in many ways. So you have this large building in the shape of a square, and you have this inside court in it.
okay? So Chris is basically he's planning how he escapes from this place when everything goes tits up.
Mhm.
So he's looking to understand what his best way out will be. And if specifically he can't find one, he's going to try and either dig one or otherwise prepare one.
Great. I will maybe, yes, that's something that you could do. Could you, Chris, do a track roll for me?
Track roll.
If you could do
I
that.
rolled an 85 and I have a 40.
Then I guess that's gonna be all. I mean, I'm not gonna give you anything else. That's if you're fine with that, unless you want to spend some luck.
No, that's not luck spendable.
Nice try.
What a pity. What a pity.
I'm tempted by the
Yep.
pushed roll though.
Okay, fine. That is fine with me. You can push that roll if you want to.
Yeah, I think he's going to get up close to the wall. So he's going to be specifically getting a little bit closer than he really should to the wall. He potentially is going to get spotted and potentially is going to try and do some digging on the outer wall, which is what will cause it.
Great.
25.
25. You're
25
going
over 40.
around and you feel like you've seen everything. And as you hear some people coming not so far from you, you're running through the woods and you're trying to get as far as you can, while, of course, being sneaky. And you happen to find another entrance. There's some sort of tunnel getting out inside the forest. It is locked. It is quite a heavy lock. It might be something that you could lockpick, but you're not so sure. It is quite a big lock pad, and with your tools, you could, but it would take you a few, at least an hour, I guess, to actually get rid of that.
Okay.
But at least you discovered that. It looks like another entrance, which is quietly hidden away in the forest.
Cool. He's going to leave it for now, but he's going to report that back to Connor and the others later on. And he's going to put forward the potential idea of them all going into the sanatorium as patients and him sneaking in via this door and sneaking around. See what they think about that.
Yeah, and we'll get back to that. But first, I will turn to Arthur and Sophia. Is there anything that you want to do, guys, within those 2 days?
So Arthur is going to make a phone call that is secret. Should I do you know, Keeper, what the phone call is going to be about, or should I say?
I perfectly know what the phone call is going to be about.
Great.
It is secret.
And then he might also hide a gun in his
luggage.
things.
Best kind of accountant. Wow.
And I guess on the research side, he might look at, if he can, recent stories from the sanatorium, as well as potentially look into their accounts. Like, is everything okay financially? Have they been in any legal battles recently? Has anyone else complained about anything? Things like that. I think that's the kind of background he would be looking into.
That sounds fantastic. I'll probably ask for a library roll for that.
Yeah.
If that's good for you. I'm gonna go back to Connor just a few seconds. Connor, what was your role? What did you do?
I rolled a 62 out of 65.
Okay, great. So just a small success. Fantastic. You hear that Thomas White is 50 years old. He's the son of a doctor. He's coming from a wealthy family, and he's of good repute. He's a hardworking man. That's what you hear. And I'll turn to Sophia now. Sophia, what do you want to do?
So in terms of packing stuff, Sophia's going to pack a small Leica camera to try and document as much as she's got, as much as she can find in secret while she's there. On the research side, she's going to look into Arthur Strand a little bit more. She's going to maybe go to the library and check out some of his maybe like previously published material, things he's written before, just to get a sense of what he's about, what he was writing before, maybe he got ill.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna let you do everything you want, but you don't have to roll for that. It looks like he wasn't published. If he was writing, if he was composing music, it was under an alias, or he wasn't publishing anything. His name is pretty much unknown.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to do, Sophia, or anything else you want to prepare, or are you good?
It was
She's all
the
good?
publisher.
Yeah.
There was the publisher.
Oh, there was indeed. Yeah. So as part of the investigation, would I be able to find out the name of that publisher that was mentioned before?
Yeah, no worries at all. You can actually go and talk or phone the guy. No worries at all. You can do that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give him a call.
Fantastic. Tuk. Fedra, what did you roll?
I rolled a 008
Oh,
out of 40, which is just an extreme success on my lever use.
well then, I guess you can have some information.
That's
Um,
good.
The Waverly Hills Sanatorium was built between 1900 and 1910. It did open in 1910, and it is mainly a sanatorium for tuberculosis patients. Thomas White, he became head of the facility in 1920. It is a sanatorium for people with tuberculosis. You can't really get rid of tuberculosis at that point in time. You can get better, but you won't really get rid of it. So it's more of a place where people can slowly die. People don't really expect people to like get out at some point and be like, oh yes, I'm happy now and everything is fine. It doesn't really happen like that. So if people are lucky, they will get out because the symptoms are reduced and they can live a normal life, but it's never going to be a full life. You can get better, but you will never completely get rid of it. It doesn't look like there's been complaints, but recently, if you're looking at the recent ledgers, it looks like a little more people are dying recently. Not like exponentially. I mean, it's not shocking, but because of your success, it looks like people are dying a little more recently, within like the last few months. I'm going back to Sophia. Sophia, you're calling this publisher friend of Mr. Strand. He's on the phone right now with you. Yes, who am I talking to?
My name is Sophia Radovich. I'm calling on behalf of Jeremy Strand. We're investigating the death of his brother.
Mr. Strand. Oh, Arthur, poor fellow, of course. Yeah, what about him?
I'd just like to know, did Jeremy ever send you any material to be published on behalf of his brother? Any poems at all?
No, I mean, I remember Arthur reading me a few poems on a short story, It was a few years ago now. We were drinking and, he came back to his room running and he was like, oh, yeah, I wrote that. Please give it a read. But it was a bit crap, so, I just went on with my life. I mean, of course, Arthur was gentle, happy, nice, whatever you like, but he wasn't a good writer, so to say. So no, I'm not really. Why? Did you happen to find something new?
Yes, he gave his brother a poem before he died, titled "Illumination." It's quite odd in tone, but I guess Mr. Strand never passed this on to you.
I guess he didn't. But if it is any good, don't hesitate to send it to my secretary, or I'll be glad to have a look.
Well, I have mixed feelings about it myself, and maybe it's on par with some of his previous work, as you've mentioned. Might I ask, what kind of thing did Arthur write about back in the day?
I mean, he was writing about travel mostly. He was talking about the wild, the exotic stuff. He was talking about, uh, the the nature on the wild, the happiness of the sun. It was kind of yeah, ramblings about nature and the beauty of nature mostly.
Did he travel a lot?
His brother did, his brother is the one traveling a lot. Himself, he wasn't traveling that much, but sometimes you don't need to travel yourself to talk about traveling, I guess.
Yes, I guess that's one way to sort of live out that travel experience is just to make it up in your own head. Just last question. Whereabouts did Jeremy travel to? You say he traveled a lot. Was it business? Was it pleasure?
Yeah, it is mostly business. He's traveling uh, within the United States a lot, to Europe a bit, I guess, as well. The family fortune is mostly, doing business contracts between Europe and the States. So
Hmm.
importing stuff, exporting stuff.
I expect so. Well, thank you very much for your time. You've been so helpful.
Oh, well, I'm glad I can be of some help. Have a good day, miss.
Thank you. And she hangs up.
Fantastic. Is anyone left hanging, or did we solve pretty much everything? Fantastic. Then, if you're all happy to do so, we can skip to the arrival to. Unless
Just
maybe
wants to have,
Chris. Yeah.
yeah, he wants to have a quick discussion. Hey, uncle, I was thinking, I found the second entrance, and I was wondering maybe if instead of all of us going inside as patients, maybe I stay on the outside. Maybe I try and get in through this other entrance, and I make sure there's a way out in case there's trouble.
I see this has potentially been a viable option for us. You are a capable set of hands there, Chris. I suppose my proviso would be that if for whatever you found yourself, how do we say, dilly-dallying, you book
Um,
yourself in and you come join us ASAP because we could use you.
Yeah. I understand. I understand totally. Yeah. Yes, uncle. I will. I don't. I'm not. I'm not thinking of dilly dallying. I'm thinking of you know, spying and listening on the conversations, and maybe I can find like a crawl space I can crawl through, and I can make sure there's a way in and out. And
in the attempt to big Chris up in front of the others, I actively try and, this is an attempt to kind of improve his reputation with the others. I just kind of say, I completely understand and approve of your tactics here. Very, very clever way of thinking there. But you understand that we need you in two places at once. So if you find that these crawl spaces are too tight, or he looks at his own belly when he says that and goes, and if you find that this sneaking around doesn't provide money results, you book yourself in, you have Strand send you into the wealthy clientele, and you join us because you are needed here.
Not to interrupt, Connor, but if while Chris tries to sneak in, he gets caught, then he is very unlikely to be allowed to be admitted in afterwards, and that might potentially ruin all of our covers.
Well, two things, Arthur, and I appreciate your interruption. Number one, if Christopher gets caught, I will eat your hat. And number two, if Christopher gets caught, I can tell you this boy, tight-lipped. He is not going to say your name, my name, the investigative team name. He is not someone to speak out.
No, sir. No, sir. I learned that in prison.
I agree, sir. He could barely say his own name properly. It's Christopher.
Thank you, Carl. And what Christopher meant there by prison was when he was visiting someone. Thank you. Yeah, very good, Christopher.
Now, Christopher, I could lend you the car to park outside this.
Oh, I can't drive.
Tunnel.
Sir.
All right, okay, well, yeah, that's fine then.
Can't drive yet.
Okay, that's okay then. I was going to park the car outside, so if anything goes wrong, you could maybe get away a wee bit faster. But if you can't drive, I'm more than happy for you to be caught.
It sounds like he might have to jog away. But he's a very capable young man, so I'm sure he can run very fast.
Healthy.
I am young and I am healthy, sir.
I'm just gonna have to just like interject on give you just a few outlooks on it. If we actually go with Chris' plan, it is a lovely plan, but as it has been said by Arthur before, it is unlikely you'll be admitted if you are caught. Therefore, I might advise on maybe getting in with the others and maybe later on going back to this place. Just because maybe for the start of the scenario itself, it would be better to just like get in with everybody else. And then you're free to do whatever you want. But in the first place, maybe getting in with everybody. So if you're caught, you're just going to be like a patient wandering. If you're caught before coming in, you're like just an intruder on someone who's never going to be accepted in again.
Yeah, this is one of those don't break the scenario moments.
Connor has a big sip. Connor has a big sip and then just goes, "Yeah, you know, Chris. Now I've been thinking about it. I think you get admitted with the rest of us, and then you get sneaking around. You understand? There, you're much more valuable to us on the inside, and then on the inside you'll be able to sneak around. It takes away the having to get inside part of the sneaking around. Just a thought that just come to me. Arthur, you
it's a great idea, Connor. I'm so glad you thought about it. I was going to say something myself, but
just came
got
to me.
There before me.
Just came to me, Arthur.
Sophia's just shaking her head.
I personally feel that this is a big moment for the podcast where we've realized that we're not allowed to break the scenarios. That's a good first step.
I mean, you could try to do that. It's just for you, Hedge. I don't really want you to sit out and be like, oh well, I've been caught now.
Your character.
I can't really do things. It's just for your own enjoyment. For your own enjoyment, I think it's better if you're getting inside with everybody else. But
yeah.
Okay, sweet. Let's do it.
Fantastic. You've all prepared and you've all done some research, which is absolutely fantastic. But it is time for you to discover Waverly Hill for yourself. Let me give you a little something. Hop, here we go. This is what you can see as you're getting to this building. You're driving through a forest during something like 30 minutes, and then you come to see this quite impressive building, all in bricks, red bricks, five stages, floors, 5 floors thing. It is quite impressive in height and quite impressive in its atmosphere in many ways. It feels like, a feeling of unease, I guess. If you're not inside yet, and still the weight of the sickness, the weight of the suffering and pain is already here, just outside the gates. You're getting out of your car, of course, and you're getting inside. You can see a few orderlies and nurses going around, and you are asked to wait in a room. You can all take a chair. It looks like it is a well-maintained place. From a first observation, it looks fancy, It looks nice. There's a lot of people. Doesn't look like you're being sent to some crappy place. Uh, Everything is in order so far. Yes, Connor.
In terms of us, I think we would have agreed that we're going in not knowing each other.
That makes sense.
But as we're
Mhm.
going in, talking to each other as the new intake, I guess, talking to each other, beginning those introductions in front of orderlies and things like that probably would have been our plan, so that when we talk to each other, it doesn't seem out of place. But going in with the idea that we don't know each other, as in we don't all work together and we just all have to be booking in with our fake identities. So kind of going in, I imagine we're kind of introducing ourselves to each other and lots of pleasantries and where are you from and lots of made up stories and things in front of the orderlies.
Of course, of course. Um, you're waiting for a bit, a few minutes, I guess. Um, when you have an old woman coming to you. Um, she looks like a nurse. I mean, she has this uniform, this white uniform. She has glasses. She's maybe in her 60s, I guess, something like that. Uh, Her lips frowned, a bit wrinkly, and with a raspy voice, she asks you, "You're the new patient, aren't you?"
Yes. We are all new here.
Yes, of course. Great. Everything is gonna be just fine. Just follow the rules. Everything needs to follow some order, of course. It is a place for people to get better. And for people to get better, they need to obey, obey, and obey.
Obey.
Yes, of course. I mean, you want to get better. You're all sick, and things can get exhausting for you sick people. So you need to listen, be respectful, and follow orders from the nurses and the orderlies. Follow me this way. We are going to do your checkup, and then you'll be sent to your rooms. This way, this way. And so she's going away, and she's leading you to what looks like a cozy and quite comfortable office. There's like,
Ladies first, Sophia.
Pete, I think you're still muted right now.
Sorry about that.
Stunned.
She's
Stunned.
she's stunned in silence. Yeah, and slips ahead to take lead on the group.
Great.
After you, sir.
Mhm.
On you go.
Thanks.
So
I'm
far,
at the back.
okay, great, fantastic. So far, you haven't seen any patients. You haven't seen any sick people, mostly staff. You're being led to this really comfortable office. It is quite cozy. You have a really big, impressive leather sofa. On behind the desk, uh, a man in his 40s, something like that, uh, slightly overweight, with big mustache, uh, kind of this fat face, and he's looking to you. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome to our poor but welcoming institution. Welcome to Waverly Hills Sanatorium. You must be the new patients I was waiting on today. Let me check my files. And so he's asking, so you must be Miss Sophia, I guess?
Yes, Sofia Milovic.
Milovic, of course. Great, fantastic Sophia Milovic. That's what I have on my file. A young man, you must be Chris.
Yes, sir.
Chris. What is your last name, Chris?
Chris Baldar with an A.
Boldar. That sounds Scandinavian, is it?
Yeah.
Are you from Norway, maybe? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a pleasant young man. You're so young and already sick. That is a shame. Don't worry, Chris. We'll do everything we can to get you better.
I got told it was a romantic disease.
Yes. Some people do say that, but you will do the checkup in a few seconds. You'll be fine, Chris. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Maurice Chase. I'm the administrator of Waverly Hills Sanatorium. I'm taking part of all the administrative side of things. I'm not a doctor myself, but I'm glad to welcome you here today. I'm certain that you will spend a lovely time within our walls. And so you must be Connor maybe.
Absolute pleasure. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name is Connor Duck Mullin.
Duck Mullin. What a strange name. Duck Mullin. That must be art, is it?
Yes, Art. That is me. I am Art. Art.
That's your real name, Art.
I've shortened it from Arcturus.
Oh wow. Lovely name, Arcturus. Yeah, great. Amazing.
Very creative, my parents.
Yeah, lovely parents, I can see that. And you must be a calcomic.
Yes, I have a very violent history. I should be here.
I mean, you look like you need some rest, Mr. Comic. You will find that here, of course.
I've been around some very vexatious people recently, so I could do with a rest.
That's a very original name you got there, Kyle.
Thank you, sir.
Well, you don't know each other, I suppose.
Never seen him a day in my life, but don't pressure him on that.
Well, be certain that you will be comfortable in the fifth ward. It is on the top floor. That's where you will be, let's say, placed. That's where you will live for the next few months, and it is extremely pleasant. If you are found, of course, fit for the sanatorium. If you can follow me now, we'll begin the checkup. And so you're being sent to another room. There's the old nurse who has welcomed you before. She's there again. And she's with a young lady, a young nurse, blonde hair, blue eyes, with a small cross upon her chest. And she looks like a little more welcoming and nice than the older lady, I guess. And they're gonna start the checkup, the examination, the medical examination. None of you is actually ill, at least from what I know.
Unless we discover it now, that'd be awkward.
That would be quite awkward. And so you're being asked, what is your date of birth? Do you have any previous medical history? Since when did you know that you think that that you became ill? Do you know where or how you did get that sickness? You're being asked to cough a little. They're listening to your heart rate, those kind of stuff. You can all roll me a psychology roll if you want to, as you are being examined.
So I got 44 out of 60.
44 out of 50?
60.
80.
60, great.
I've got an 83 out of 10, so...
Well.
56 out of 10 as well.
So if you have a success, raise your hand.
I've got a hard success. I got a 30 out of 65.
Great. Normal success for Fedra and Pete?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Fedra and Pete, it looks like the nurses are doing their job quite well. They are doing their job. Maybe that's what you would get. Maybe the older lady seems to be, yeah, she's a bit annoyed. It looks like she's doing her job because she needs to, but it looks like she doesn't want to be here, and that she's probably wasting her time. Uh, Newman, on your side with Connor, uh, you realize that the older lady is doing the checkup, but that even if she's doing the checkup, she doesn't really pay attention. It looks like she's doing her job and she's doing it quite well. But even if there was something to discover here, you realize that she doesn't care.
Can I kind of push her a little bit then? And if as soon as I recognize that, just very nicely, seeing her kind of writing down things and doing the checkup, just kind of just engage her in conversation and say, more than happy to obey in all things you suggest here, but perhaps you can give me an insight there. How's the old ticker? Am I as healthy as I feel, or is there something I should know about?
Um, she's looking at you and she's like, well, like most patients here, the disease is the disease is all right. You'll get better. It's almost it's almost as if you're not sick. Almost.
Almost. I imagine you have a number of patients that must come in here and they must seem healthy, but deep down, in the old air sacs, they're obviously carrying a bit of trouble down there, huh?
She's looking at Maurice Chase, and because Maurice Chase is not really paying attention right now, she will continue this conversation with you, and she'll say, well, you've paid already. So if Mr. Chase wants you to be sick, and if you want to be here, you'll be sick. But I know my job, and you all look fine to me.
And what is it that you seem to think is fine with us? I would hate to not be following the rules here, nurse.
She's looking at you, and she's clearly, you don't need a role for that. You don't have to play dumb with her. She knows you're not sick. She knows. She's doing her job. She has been doing her job for a long time. To her, anyway, after checking you all up, it looks like to her that you're all perfectly sane and that you're all perfectly healthy. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Then the two nurses go back to Maurice Chase. The checkups are done, doctor. It's the younger nurse talking. It looks like, they're quite healthy. The disease must be quite mild. They're not coughing that much. The lungs seems to not be attacked too much. Everything should be just fine for the fifth ward. Then Mr. Chase is like, well, that's good news, of course. It looks like, my dear friends, you're all going to be in capable hands. The disease is not too advanced right now. And if you're following our orders, everything will get better at some point. You've heard of the white fever, the white death, of course, from a professional.
Are we all together at this point?
Yeah, you are. He's looking at all of you, maybe more at Chris because he's a younger one.
I was told it was a romantic disease.
Well. Some people do say that. Here we don't really call it the white fever or the white death. We call it the yellow fever or the yellow death. Dr. White, who is head of the facility, is closely studying this disease. He has been doing so for quite a number of years now. And he thinks that the name white fever, white death is quite stupid, After all, most people who are coughing every day are coughing some sort of yellow phlegm. Therefore, it shouldn't be called white death or white fever. It should be called yellow death or yellow fever. That's just, being reasonable. Right?
Is it not because of his surname?
I was gonna ask, is it named after him? Is he like the discoverer?
Please don't say that to Dr. White. He's someone absolutely fantastic. You are in good hands. Mr. White has an impeccable reputation. I'm certain that if you did choose Waverly Hills, it is because of his reputation. Of course, right?
Indeed. I'm here because of the reputation of Dr. White.
Yeah, Dr. White, of course.
My uncle sent me here.
Oh, your uncle. What's his name?
Yeah, what is his name?
Spit it out, Christopher.
Clive?
Mr. Clive.
Yeah, my uncle's Clive.
Great, Mr. Clive. That's weird. I haven't seen that in your file, but that should be just I'll add that.
Seems to roll off the tongue. Uncle Clive rolls off the tongue.
Uncle Clive, great. So that's the one we are supposed to contact if anything was to happen to you, Mr. Chris?
Yeah.
Do you have a phone number or an address?
No.
He doesn't like. Chris?
He doesn't like to be called. I have
if his nephew is
my uncle's friend, Mr. Strand. He organized things, and you're to contact him if there's any issues with me.
Yeah, it seems like you've all been recommended by Mr. Strand. He's paying for your leisure here.
A very charitable man, finding lost souls with tuberculosis and individually, without them knowing each other at all, helping fund their treatment. How kind.
I believe Art is right. Did he set up some kind of charity, name of his
perhaps.
brother or something? I believe that was
yeah, Mr. Strand, of course. We had his brother here, Arthur, yeah.
Believe because of the positive experience with his brother, he recommended this place and had a charitable donation.
Great man. Never met him myself, but sounds great.
I've met him once.
Well, I'm certain that Arthur, wherever he is right now, is doing well. If his brother is sending you all here, that's perfect.
Is his brother not here anymore?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't remember all the names, of course, but Arthur Strand, it does ring a bell. But I don't think he's here currently with us right now. I don't think so.
How long have you been working here, Mr. Chase?
For a few years now. I arrived a few months after Dr. White.
And you did all the patient intakes, did you?
Well, as I'm not a doctor, I do take care of all the intakes on just the payment side of things, the administrative side of things. Dr. White, he can't really take care of that. He has so many other things he needs to attend to. So I do take care of that for him, and he's relieved.
And who takes care of the discharges, if I may ask?
The discharges, I guess that would be either me or a doctor. I mean, a doctor needs first to assert the fact that you're not ill anymore, that you're healthy. And if you are healthy, then you will be allowed out.
And you don't recall Arthur being discharged?
I don't. But maybe I was away, or maybe, I don't remember everything.
Can I roll psychology, please?
Yes, you can. You can.
Let's see. Oh no, I'm 6 over. I rolled 56 and my psychology is 50.
Do you want to spend some luck, or are you fine with that?
Seems like early days to start spending 6 luck.
That's perfectly fine with me.
I don't know.
From what you get, it looks like he actually doesn't remember things. He's acting as someone who is kind and welcoming. And it looks so far that he's just a normal guy, and he doesn't remember Arthur. Maybe that's just because he's trying to be polite. Maybe he doesn't remember Arthur at all. Maybe he's pretending to remember him, but you wouldn't know. Well. Uh, if everything is fine with you, I guess we'll let you with the nurses. Um, did they introduce themselves? No, they
No.
didn't. How sad. The older one is Pearl. On a Pearl, she is. I mean, she's a true gem. She's been working here for quite a long time. She's the head nurse. If you have any problem, go to her. She will be able to solve pretty much everything. The younger one that you saw is Margaret. Margaret is the nurse in charge of the fifth ward. So she will be staying with you on the fifth floor, and she's the nurse for the fifth ward. So if there's any problem inside the fifth ward, she's the one you can go to, and she will be happy to help you out with pretty much everything.
Apologies. Was that Pearl that was up on the 5th floor with us, or was that somebody else?
Margaret.
Margaret. My
yeah, Margaret, the young one, of course.
Margaret.
Pearl was the gem, which is not a gem, really. Is it?
Indeed.
I mean, Margaret is a gem as well, but she's a younger one, and I mean, it's not against you, Mr. Chris, but young people sometimes they tend to be loose-headed, not serious enough. But well, everything should be just fine, I guess.
She should look after herself. What with this romantic fever going around?
Well, we have strict policies, of course, and I'm certain that with those strict policies, you'll be just fine. I'll let Margaret guide you to the fifth ward. You'll be able to put your luggages down and settle, and then you will meet the head surgeon of the facility. He will talk to you about the rules that you need to follow, and he will talk to you about the schedule that you need to follow as well during your day. If that's fine with you, of course.
Mr. Morris, just one last question from me. Perhaps I'll miss this earlier. I just thought the nurse may have mentioned this. Nurse Pearl may have mentioned this. Is Nurse Pearl in the room with us?
No, she's not. You're alone with Mr. Chase right now.
Okay. So Nurse Pearl may have mentioned this, but there's been a lot of talk about obeying and rules and following orders, which I absolutely abide by.
Well,
ask.
That's not really part of my domain, but doctors here, they don't want people to get agitated. They don't want people to get excited.
I understand. I just not for me. I understand. I just want to know what the consequences might be for someone else who may break the bend, twist the rules. I just want to be in a position to remind people of their dutiful obligations.
Of course. That's something that Margaret might help you out with. She'll tell you what does happen to people who don't follow the rules. But I'm fairly certain that all of you are nice people and that everything will be in order, right?
Indeed.
Fantastic. You see that, Maurice Chase doesn't really want to spend more time with you. You've paid, you've been introduced, everything is in order for him. It looks like he doesn't really care about you anymore. And therefore, he will just show you the door and wish you a good day. And I'm certain, of course, that your stay with us will be quite pleasant. You can join the little Margaret. She must be just right there. Go on.
I do that.
After you, sir.
I'll hang back and let these guys all go forward. No, not hang back, sorry. Hang to the back of the group and let these guys all kind of walk on. I'm just observing from the back.
Yeah, I'm going to follow on.
Chris is a little bit excited because he's like a bit confused and it's all kind of new and quite exciting. So he's now at the front of the group and he's sort of leading the way a little.
Sophia's sort of like looking around. She's just sort of like trying to take in the space and see what she can see. But yeah, a little nervous.
Arthur is holding his breath as much as he can in case of tuberculosis in the air. Just breathes as little as possible.
Okay, so let me just check one little detail. That's it, perfect. Waiting for you behind the door. Pearl is nowhere to be seen, but if she's the head nurse, as it was stated before, it does seem logical for her to have many, many other things that she actually wants to take care of. So he's waiting for you, Margaret, this young nurse. She looks a bit, you know, she's not lost or anything, but she's a bit out of her comfort zone in many ways. She seems a bit shaky, maybe stressed, maybe. So she will be welcoming you and be like, "Well, I hope that that everything is fine. You're all ready to go to the fifth ward." Yes, that is fantastic. I'm Margaret Burns. I hope that everything will be just fine in the fifth ward. We're just waiting on Eugene right now. Eugene is the orderly in charge of the fifth ward with me, and he will take care of your luggages. If you don't, unless you want to take them yourself, but you're guests here, so that's normal if we can help you out. And as she's speaking, you have a young black man in his 20s coming up. It seems quite obvious that he is the Eugene that she was talking about just before. He's being really polite with a smile. He welcomes you all. Welcome, guys. And of course, miss. Hope you're not doing too bad yourself. I'm just going to take your luggages. He's taking most of your luggages.
I can hold on
I'm
to
happy
mine.
to keep on to hold on to mine also. It keeps me fit. You know, you gotta.
Just to help out. I agree with Art, was it?
Art.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, suit yourself. And follow us to the fifth ward. You'll discover your new home for the next few months. This way. You're following them inside the sanatorium, and you start to discover this new place that's going to be yours. You can see a few patients wandering around. They seem fine, most of them. Some of them are bedridden, but they are being wheeled. So there are beds with wheels. They can move around themselves if they want to. Some who are on a later stage of the disease can't really do that by themselves. So some orderlies are pushing their beds within the corridors. It is quite disturbing to see those people who are too weak to even be able to move out of their bed. They're coughing. They're looking at you pale and feverish. All the orderlies seem to be fine right now. Some patients look quite well so far as well. In the background, quite far away, you hear some sort of scream. Just a short one, it is nothing to be afraid of. Eugene turns to you and being like, well, it does happen sometimes when people don't want to take their medication, but most of the patients here are quite happy. There's only one place where things are getting things are getting bad. There's one place that we want you to avoid. This is the fourth ward. The fourth ward is for people who can't be cured. It is for people who are about to die. They are quite. The disease could spread quite easily from those people. That's why we keep them contained in the fourth ward, and that's where we put also people who are losing their mind. If people tend to, on that is sad, but if people tend to lose their wits, if they tend to to become psychos. That's where we put them. And then Margaret is trying to shut him up and being like, "Oh, don't say that, Eugene. Don't say psychos. They're not psychos. They're sick. They're sick people, sick in the head. But you know, they're just patients like everybody else." Connor, yes.
Just a general question. I apologize for my ignorance on this, but you must need to tend to those people on the fourth ward, and obviously there is a degree of keeping yourself safe and healthy. How is it you go in there and protect yourself when you are in there? Do you just cover your mouth with a cloth, or is there much more of a precautionary stance you have to take? I'm just curious as a new guest to here. And we are on the fifth floor.
You are on the fifth floor, the fifth ward. That's where Miss Margaret and I will take care of you.
But if you went down to the fourth floor to look after one of these patients, how do you look after yourself? My concern is for you. I'm just curious.
And that's perfectly fine of you. Thank you, sir. But we know how to take care of ourselves. We have some protection for ourselves. We can mask ourselves. We wash our hands as well regularly. We take care. We take care.
I'm interested, Eugene. Like, what kind of a mask is this? Is this like a full head thing, or is it like a little bit of a handkerchief over the mouth? I'm just
some sort of handkerchief, you know. It's just about protecting yourself and protecting your entryways, not to breathe in, you know, the bad things.
That is very clever. I applaud your efforts, Eugene, and your occupation here. You are a marvel of a human being.
Well, that is really nice of you. And he smiles, and this smile is towards you, of course, but it's also towards Margaret. As you are coming up, and as you are going to the fifth floor, you can all make either find a hidden object or a psychology roll. So when you want.
Ooh, I was gonna say on the way up, trying to just kind of watch everything. So I'm gonna make a spot roll, please, if that's okay.
Yeah, spot hidden, of course.
I'm going to go with psychology, I think. Just sort of watching them as they talk.
Then a spot hidden.
Go for spot hidden as
Ooh.
well.
Okay, so let's start with spot hidden people. Spot hidden people, raise your hand. Okay, 4 of you. Great. If you did succeed, keep your hand in the air. Fantastic. So 4 of you. Great.
3. I failed.
Oh, you failed.
I got a hard success.
Success. Great.
14 over 30.
21 over 25.
I got 9 over 25.
Great. If you did succeed, you did notice when you went past the 4th floor that there were more guards, more orderlies. It looks like it is a really restricted area. Orderlies are waiting, and it looks like they're not really keeping people from getting out. It looks like they're keeping people from getting in. At least, you know, that's what you would see from the outside. They do have cloth mask, and as Hedged mentioned, it is not something, you know, weird at those times. We had the Spanish flu not so far away in time, and it is common knowledge that to protect yourself, especially in a medical situation, the cloth mask is actually quite a good idea. Concerning the psychology role, Sophia, how did you do?
Yeah, success. 41 out of 60.
Right. Sophia, you do notice that Eugene is looking towards Margaret in a way that you do recognize. You think that he might be infatuated, he might be interested in Margaret. He's smiling too much, he's trying too much, he's joking, he's waiting for her reaction. He might be in love.
Sounds like someone else is going to get a romantic illness.
I don't know if you find it lovely or if you find it fun, but anyway, you do notice that, and you will probably share that with everybody as soon as you are alone. You arrive on the 5th floor, on the 5th ward. You all have private rooms. Right away, when you enter on your right, there's the room of the nurse, Margaret Bunn. At the end of the corridor, you have Eugene's room. On the left side, you have all your private rooms. On the right side, there seems to be a lot of medical rooms waiting for you, either with storage, medication, stuff like that, or with a big window bay to be able to enjoy the sun. As you're about to just put your luggage away, I think it is time for Nurse Margaret to give you the schedule. Hop, here we go. And if you all have the schedule in front of you, she will talk about it for you. Great. So here is the schedule. That's what you're supposed to, to keep up to. Because you are patients of the 5th ward, you have a little more autonomy than most of the patients. If you don't want to be part of an activity, it is your right. But we would prefer that you are behaving and that you are part of the community. If that doesn't, if that doesn't bother you. She's looking at all of you and she's trying to assert if this is something that you would be against or if this is something that is suitable for you. It should be good for everybody, I guess.
Just the curfew,
Yes.
the ward curfew and the full curfew. Have we been taken to our rooms yet? Have we actually looked inside our rooms yet?
No, you're just in front of your rooms right now. You are on the 5th floor and she's just giving you those pamphlets just before you go in.
I often get you may have heard of this. My ex-wife thought this was a silly thing. The restless leg syndrome. Often in the evenings, I like to get up and walk and stretch my legs, get some air, which I've been told is good for the lungs.
Could you just like roll a fast talk for that?
Oh, I could. Oh, I could.
I mean,
Okay, so I got 91/5.
Great, fantastic. So Nurse Margaret is about to say, "Oh yes, I understand," but then Eugene is like, "Well, we have rules on either you want to stretch your legs in your own room or you won't stretch your legs." He's quite abrupt in his answer here. He has been friendly to you, but as soon as you're talking about not following the rules, it looks like Eugene doesn't like that. He doesn't like that at all.
And
what's a reveal?
Oh yes, it's a fancy way of saying waking up.
That's early.
I've noticed there's no morning prayers.
We have a priest here in the facility,
Right.
and we have a chapel as well. So, either time, if you feel like you need to talk to the Lord or talk to the priest, you're welcome to go there in your own time.
Do you have a singing group or something like that? Something, for the recreational time, perhaps we could join a choir.
We have someone taking care of all of that. Mr. Pesci, Michael Pesci. He's our own artist in the house. He's helping out patients. If you want to sing, do some painting, some drawings. I think that there's some writing activities as well. So in your recreational time, if you want to do that, you can just go and see Mr. Pesci. He will be glad to help you out.
Okay.
I was just apology. I will be quiet about this restless leg syndrome in a moment. I apologize. I just if I did find myself completely by accident, occasionally like an out of mind moment where I just get up and walk out of my room, what is it that, like, if I was found and you kind of said, "Oh, this is against the rules," is that just kind of like a slap on the wrist, back to bed, Connor, or is there something else there? I just wouldn't want to put Mr. Strand out. You see, he was sponsoring my stay here, and I'd be concerned about his reputation if I were to tarnish it.
So Margaret is taking back the lead, and she will answer you like that. You see, just under this like regulations, that's the rules you need to follow. You need to follow the schedule. If there's anything, you should ask for help. You should abide the curfew. You should respect the entirety of the staff. You should use your spittoons. You should report emergencies. You should keep off the fourth ward. To not use violence, to not disturb others, to not use narcotics. Now let's go back to the curfew thing. If you were to be seen outside of your room or outside of your ward, you would be breaking curfew. If you have a valid reason to break the curfew, we will be understanding. We want you all to have a lovely time here. We are not here, to make you unhappy. We're here because we want you to get better. That's why we want you to rest. That's why we need you to stay where we can watch you and, take care of you. That's why we have a curfew. If you were to be seen outside of your room, you would be taken back to your room. If you were to cause trouble a second time, then we would assume that maybe you're not doing so well in your head. Then we would bring you maybe to Dr. White or to the head surgeon, Eugene, and maybe they would look at you and see if everything is fine. Maybe we could increase your medications. Maybe we could keep you locked inside a room for a while. Says we just want you to get better, right?
Right, and I absolutely understand and will abide by the rules. Thank you, Margaret, for your clarification. I
I'm
appreciate
just glad, but don't go too far. I just need to give you a spittoons. And she's going to a room, and she's coming back with some small jars, some small pots. Each of you have one. And she's like, "It's a spittoon. Do you know what it is?"
Sophia looks at it and just is aghast. It's like, what is this for exactly?
Spittoons. Every patient needs to have his spittoon on him at all time.
For what?
Each time you cough, each time you feel unwell, you open your spittoon and you spit in it.
This is so alien to her. She's just like, okay.
We collect all your spittoons at night, and we can collect all the phlegms that you have, in your spittoons. And Dr. White can use that for analysis for his work.
And this is mandatory, or could we perhaps?
She's turning really serious now. She was all smiling and she's like, yes, of course.
You see, only because as you said, we're quite early in our condition and we wouldn't want to ruin the sample of the people who would have much superior phlegm to us.
No, you're all sick. I mean, we said that. You're all welcome to help science, to help Dr. White. That's why you all need to spit in your spittoons and keep your spittoons on you all day. At all time, if you were to be caught without your spittoons, that would be real bad. You need to keep that with you at all time. Is that clear now?
Thank you for joining us for Act 1 of The Yellow Death by Batu Bozoglu. And thanks to our sponsors, the Storytelling Collective. You can find out more on our website at miskatonicplayhouse.com. Join us on social media. The links are in the show notes. Until next time, when the curtain rises again. Hi, I'm T.A. Newman from the Miskatonic Playhouse. I've been writing scenarios for Call of Cthulhu for a while, and it came out of working with the Storytelling Collective. My first scenario, The Prisoner's Dilemma, which is now a print on demand, a bit of a success story, very excited about it, was done through the Storytelling Collective. I can't recommend what they do enough. The structure, the guidance, and for me, the accountability of making sure that I bring my concept to a final product. I'm so impressed with the Storytelling Collective and how they've presented their course with the likes of Paul Fricker, one of the co-creators of the 7th edition of Call of Cthulhu. I really hope you can join us on the Write Your Own Adventure Call of Cthulhu path, and hope to see you there.